Over 2,500 years ago, a man wrote a book that would change the course of history. The Art of War by Sun Tzu is not just about battles. It's about strategy, deception, and the psychology of victory. But who was the man behind these legendary words? This is the story of Sun Tzu, the general who reshaped warfare forever. Born during the turbulent spring and autumn period, Sun Tzu was not just a warrior, but a thinker. As a child, he studied philosophy, history, and the art of deception, lessons that would define his future. His knowledge and discipline caught the attention of King Helu of Wu. The king challenged him to prove his strategies by training his concubines into soldiers, a task no one thought possible. After proving his mastery of discipline and strategy, Sun Tzu was appointed as a general. He led the state of Wu to incredible victories against more powerful enemies by using cunning and deception instead of brute force. But Sun Tzu's greatest victory was not won on the battlefield. It was written. The art of war became a guide, not just for warriors, but for leaders, philosophers, and strategists throughout history. His legacy lives on. The wisdom of the art of war is still studied in military academies, boardrooms, and governments worldwide. But the true secrets of his teachings go beyond the battlefield. His true genius lies within his writings, his strategies so powerful that they shaped wars for centuries. Today, we unlock the hidden secrets of the art of war. One of Sun Tzu's greatest lessons: all warfare is based on deception. But what does that mean in practice? In 506 BC, the state of Wu faced a formidable enemy, Chu, a kingdom with overwhelming forces. Sun Tzu had no choice but to outthink them. Know the ground, know your enemy, and you shall never be in peril. Sun Tzu mastered the art of using terrain to his advantage. In one battle, he led his troops through a hidden valley, striking the enemy from behind and securing victory with minimal losses. Sun Tzu believed the greatest victory is the one won without battle. In one legendary moment, he forced an enemy surrender without drawing a single sword. But how? The principles of the art of war go beyond the battlefield. Sun Tzu's strategies were used in politics, business, and even diplomacy. But what happens when war is fought with words instead of weapons? We uncovered the hidden strategies within the art of war, secrets that won battles before they even began. But what if the greatest victory was never fighting at all? Sun Tzu was not only a master of war, but also a genius of diplomacy. This is the story of how he defeated enemies without drawing a single sword. Sun Tzu believed that the best victory was one that required no bloodshed. His strategy? Use fear, deception, and diplomacy to force enemies into surrender. When the state of Wu faced the powerful state of Qi, Sun Tzu did not rush into war. Instead, he sent envoys, spread misinformation, and played rivals against each other until Qi collapsed from within. One of Sun Tzu's greatest victories came not from the battlefield, but from the negotiation table. Instead of attacking, he persuaded an enemy state to turn against its own allies, destroying them from the inside. His legacy goes beyond the art of war. It is the art of leadership, intelligence, and persuasion. But every strategist faces their final battle. We saw how Sun Tzu mastered the art of diplomacy, winning wars without ever raising a sword. But even the greatest minds must one day face their final challenge. As the sun set on his legendary career, Sun Tzu found himself in a new battle, not against an enemy, but against time itself. Despite his victories, the world around him was changing. New threats emerged, and the state of Wu was once again at war. Sun Tzu was called back to the battlefield for one final campaign. Knowing he could not fight forever, Sun Tzu devised a plan to secure Wu's survival beyond his time. His final strategy was not for battle, but for the future of his people. And then he vanished. Some say he retired in solitude. Others believe he continued advising rulers from the shadows. But one thing is certain, his wisdom did not die with him. His time on the battlefield had ended, but his influence was only beginning. His teachings would shape the greatest generals and leaders of history. But how did the art of war survive through the ages? We witnessed his final strategies, his mysterious disappearance, and his enduring wisdom. But his story did not end with him. Across centuries, his teachings shaped the greatest military minds in history. Today, we uncover how the art of war influenced wars far beyond ancient China, reaching even the battlefields of the modern world. Centuries after Sun Tzu, his teachings crossed into Japan, where samurai warlords studied his tactics. The great daimyo Takeda Shingen used deception, swift mobility, and terrain advantages, winning battles with minimal losses. In the 19th century, Napoleon Bonaparte, one of the most brilliant military strategists in history, unintentionally echoed Sun Tzu's philosophy. His lightning-fast movements and ability to strike where the enemy least expected mirrored the principles of the art of war. But perhaps the most striking use of Sun Tzu's strategies came during World War II. From the deception of D-Day to the psychological tactics of intelligence warfare, his influence was undeniable. His wisdom transcended time, influencing wars across continents. And today, his teachings are still studied, not only in military academies but in politics, business, and modern warfare. But could his strategies shape the future of war?